Welcome to my trading room. This is called Day Trading, the best Elliott wave analysis, episode number 6. So today I will take a brief look at gold, and we take a look at its Ichimoku cloud and also its latest Elliott wave labeling. But before I do that, I want briefly for the introduction to talk to you about Bitcoin. So there are two possibilities right now on Bitcoin. Either we are accomplishing wave 4, there's still a chance that we are in the process of accomplishing wave 4. And once wave 4 is accomplished, is finished, we will have wave 5 up to new highs. So that's possible. And if that happens, it should happen in a couple of weeks, but it should not take that much time, maybe 1 month. It should not take that much time. And there's a second possibility. The second possibility is that we have entered a bear market. In that case, the bear market will persist for a couple more months. And we have right now a loss from all-time high of 60% on Bitcoin. And if it is a bear market, we will go lower, which means we will lose maybe up to 90%. So the most optimistic point of view is that it's only wave 4 and we go higher. And the more bearish point of view is that we are in a bear market, and we will keep dropping until we have lost around 90% since all-time high. So both possibilities are possible. I think that actually the likelihood that we have entered a bear market is quite high, because if I look at my time analysis, I only do that with my private clients, but if I look at it, from a time analysis perspective, we should have entered a bear market. So we should expect to lose 90% on Bitcoin from its all-time high. And maybe you know, maybe you don't. I told you a lot of times, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. And that means a lot. Those words mean a lot. So when I tell you that I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, that means that there's only one thing on earth I believe in, and that's Bitcoin. I believe in the governing rules of Bitcoin. I believe that they won't be changed, and I believe that on the long run, it will preserve my processing power. It will even increase it drastically. I believe that we all should use Bitcoin, and I believe that Bitcoin should be the world reserve currency, and that on every exchange for coffee and everything else, buying a house, a car, everything should be powered by Bitcoin, because it's the most honest money out there. Everything else ends, it takes more time, but everything else ends in the same manner as Luna did end last week. It goes to zero. And that's not something I'm looking forward to. I mean, that's not something I want with the fruit of my labor. So right now, since I'm a Bitcoin maximalist and I only trust Bitcoin, I would not sell at the top of a wave 5. When I know that a bull market is over, I will not sell. I will keep trading in the bear market, but I will not sell my main position in Bitcoin. I never sell. Just as Michael Saylor won't sell, I also won't sell. And Michael Saylor, if you compare him to me, he takes more risk because he takes a leveraged position on his Bitcoin stack. And if Bitcoin drops enough, he will be liquidated. I don't. I do not take leveraged position on my Bitcoin stack. At least not now, and I don't think I will do it in the future. Because I do not trust banks, and you need to trust an exchange or a bank to do that. And I do not trust banks, not at all. And I even am very skeptical about trusting exchanges. I have to use them as a trader, but I do not trust them. So as soon as I can take profit out of the exchange and convert it into Bitcoin, I do. So why am I telling you all that? It is because since I'm a Bitcoin maximalist and I never sell, I've lost 60% of my processing power, around 60% since Bitcoin dropped 60%. And I might lose 90% of my processing power. And you would say, well, how can you live with that? How can you live with that? Most people, if they lose 30% of their processing power, they would kill themselves. You lost already 60%, and there's a good probability that you will lose 90% of your processing power. That might be the case. But I only have two alternatives. Either I trust banks and I sell and I put my money into banks, or I trust Bitcoin. I do not trust banks. So I will keep my money in Bitcoin. It's that simple. And I rather live through a bear market. I'm reading right now a very interesting book. It's called about samurai traders. So it is talking about samurais, Japanese samurais, and how it relates to trading, their philosophy of life. And it's a very interesting book. And those people, their entire life, they worked mentally on themselves to be able to kill themselves whenever they have to. So they were capable of committing harikiri whenever the circumstances asked it of them. And they would kill themselves in public, in front of everybody, without hesitating. And the death was quite painful, since they cut open the stomach, which is a painful death. And they still were capable of doing it for principles whenever they had to. Why do I talk to you about that? I don't want to kill myself, of course. That's not the point. But it is just to show you that if people, when they work on themselves, they can accomplish that for principle, for honor, for their duty, they can kill themselves easily and as soon as required of them. If they can do that, I can live through a bear market, and I can lose 90% of my purchasing power and not be affected by it. That's easily said. It's hard done. I don't feel pain, but it's hard because I'm still working. I'm still making money in the markets. And what do I do with the money that I make? I buy Bitcoin. And what happens with my Bitcoin? It goes down and I lose purchasing power. So it's very hard because even if I work, even if I make money, I still lose overall purchasing power. And that will be until the end of wave 4 or the end of the bear market. So it's just some thoughts for you. Everybody needs to know what he does. You might be fine with trusting banks, putting all your money in banks, and as soon as you think that a bear market starts, you sell everything and put your money into a bank. That's fine for you, okay? You might be putting it into USDT or the Luna coin, UST. You do whatever you want. I do not trust anything else than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only thing I trust on this earth. I trust up to a certain degree my very good friends, but they have to be very good friends, and they have to have a lot of trust in them. A friend is actually somebody who is willing to die for you. That's a real friend. He would offer his life for you. That's a real friend, and it's very hard to get nowadays. You will not find somebody who is willing to die for you, even if he loves you. So I mean, For me, losing 90% on my Bitcoin stack, purchasing power on my Bitcoin stack is fine, because I know that the bear market will cease one day. It should cease quite soon. This year or next year, it should cease, even if it's a bear market. And then you get a new bull market, and you will go to new all-time highs. So I trust in the fundamentals of Bitcoin. I trust that adoption will increase, and I trust that my purchasing power will be restored. That's the bet I take. And I take that bet because I have no choice. I do not trust anything else. And that's me. That's the principles I live with, and that's the principles I will die with. So I will keep increasing my Bitcoin stack, even if Bitcoin keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, and I keep losing purchasing power. It does not matter to me. What matters to me is that I don't end up with zero, that I don't get, and that I don't lose everything, because it's my entire, it's the fruit of my entire labor, of my entire life. And I don't want to lose everything in a bank or in something like UST, the Luna coin, or anything else. I do not trust anything else. And there's a very interesting story that you should read. It is called, in French, Les Misérables, and that means the wretched, or you could translate it with the poor. And it's the story about a man. He's called Jean Valjean. I did read the book when I was a small kid, so I don't remember it in details, but I remember the main passages briefly. I can briefly talk about it. And Jean Valjean was condemned to hard labor. So he would go in prison, and he would have to work for the next decade, hard labor, and under very tough conditions. And from an economic point of view, what did he do before he went into prison and had to go through hard labor? He sold his house, he bought gold with his house, and then he went into the forest, dig a hole somewhere, and put his gold in the ground. Afterwards, he went to the authorities and gave himself in, and then he was condemned to hard labor. And he spent the next 10 years in prison. Now, why did he do that? He did that because it was the only way to assure that when he will get out of his hard labor punishment, 10 years afterwards, he would still have something. He would still have the gold and the treasure that he hid in the forest. It would still be there. That was his bet. And his bet was also that gold, after 10 years in prison, would still be worth something. Okay. And I'm using exactly the same strategy in my life. Okay. I put my money, the fruit of my labor, into Bitcoin. Why do I do that? Because I trust that Bitcoin over the long run will conserve my purchasing power, that I will still can get back to my treasure and use it whenever I want to use it, just as Jean Valjean did. And that's exactly what happened. And he accomplished his 10 years of hard labors. And then he went into the forest and dig up the hole and found all his gold again. And he did not end up with zero. If he had kept his house, it would have been confiscated and sold, and he would have had nothing left. They would have taken everything from him. They would not have left him anything. And I don't want to end up being as poor as a beggar, or even poorer than a beggar. So, and the only way to do that for me is to trust in Bitcoin. It's the only way to do that. And I'm willing to take the hard times as well as the good times. And a bear market are part of the hard times. And it's always a little painful. But I'm willing to go through that, and I'm willing to keep putting my fruit of my labors into Bitcoin. That's simply what I do. Now, that being said, that's my strategy, and I will follow my strategy. Most people don't have a strategy, and they are not capable of following it. And you cannot succeed in the market if you don't have a strategy. Now, that being said, let me share my screen. Here's my disclaimer, because we will talk about trading, and trading is a risky business. Here's my disclaimer, and here's my risk warning. The links are in the description. And let's briefly talk about my services. Here are the live Elliott wave updates. So I'm offering live Elliott wave updates on Bitcoin, on US stocks, the S&P, and gold. On Bitcoin, you get 1 to 3 updates a day. And on gold and US stocks, you get 1 update a day. That service will cost you 20 USD a month. Your means of payments are either crypto, which will offer you the best price, or PayPal, which is a little more expensive because you have to send the money to a third party. So that's mainly what I do and what I offer. I also offer coaching one-on-one, but I have to find the time to do that. And right now I'm quite busy with trading, so it's a little hard to find any free time for a coaching intervention. But I do it for people who are very interested in trading and want to talk about trading, their strategy, and how they can improve and become profitable traders. So for people who are interested in coaching, I also offer that. Now, that being said, I would like you to kindly ask of you to like and leave me a comment if you wish to do so. And liking is very important because it's the only way that other people will find this YouTube intervention. And if nobody finds my YouTube intervention, then I will cease doing them because there's no demand for them. So if you want to see more intervention in the future, you have to leave me a like. In order to do that, just download the YouTube Creator Endorsement extension on the Chrome Web Store, add it, and once it's added, you press on you press on the button. It looks like that. It is black when it's not pressed, and it gets red when it's pressed. You press on the button, and you then answer the question: would you like to automatically like? In this case, it would be my channel, but any channel you watch, I recommend you to like them, the videos, and then you just press like here, and every time you watch one of my intervention, it will get automatically liked. And now, that being said, let's take a look at gold. So here it's Ichimoku cloud on the 50 minutes, but let's take a higher time frame, 30 minutes. Let's look how that looks. "45 minutes, 1 hour. Two hours. Okay, well, it does not matter since it's just an exercise and you're not actually putting money on the table. So let's just take the 45 minutes. It looks not bad, and I can talk about that. On the 45 minutes chart, you had a candle that did break out of the Kumo cloud. So that's a bullish sign. at that time, the future Chico, the future Kumo was bullish. At that time, the Chico was also bullish. And here you had the cross. Well, the cross actually only happened later. So the cross between the Tenkan and the Kijuin only happened on the candle next to it. But on this candle, all the conditions to go long were satisfied. The last condition that I have is Elliott wave, and we'll talk about Elliott wave as soon as I'm finished with Ichimoku. But here on that candle top, you could have put your entry point above that candle, and the next candle would have got you in the trade. And then you would have waited for you to get out of the trade. Your stop loss would have been below the Kijuin, and it would have gone up with the Kijuin, and you would have been stopped out at this level. So it would have been a profitable trade from here to here. And now the question is, of course, for example, once every indicator is bullish again, here's the last one, is the super trend. When the super trend gets broken, when the next candle, not this one, but the next candle moves about the super trend, this one would break and the super trend will be down here. So once everything is bullish, can you go long again? Because here it would have got you out, but the trend can still go higher. So can you enter again a long trade once all the conditions to go long are fulfilled again? And for that, we have to take a look at Elliott wave, what we will do next. So on Elliott wave, we can see right now that on the bigger picture, we are having a bearish count on Elliott wave. Let me make it a little more simple for you. Let's take that indicator off and this one also. And so you have less thing on the chart and it's less confusing for you. So here we have wave 3 down here, which means that we are in the process of accomplishing wave 4. And once wave 4 is over, we will get wave 5 lower. And if we look at the internals of wave 4, so wave 4 is a corrective wave, and it subdivides into 3 waves, an A, B, and we are now in the process of accomplishing wave C. And wave C subdivides into 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have one more wave up that should happen, wave 5. Once that wave is complete, wave 4 is over, and wave 5, the downtrend will resume, and we will go to new lows. So my question was, can you go long? And let me zoom in a little, because right now it is a little over, my indicators are a little overlapping. Okay, the alternate count would be that wave 5 is already over, and that up here, that was actually wave 5. What I'm labeling as wave P here was actually wave 5. And we will go down from here. We won't go any higher. But if we look at my main count, it seems more probable because that looks more as a wave 4. And here it looks like if we have started wave 5 up. So you could go long at the level that I told you, which is this one, the super trend. Once the super trend can be broken, for example, you could put an entry point above that candle top and go long. because Elliott waves tells you that you still have one wave up to do, but it will be short-lived. It will be only a brief trade, which means as soon as you think that wave 5 is topping, since down here we have wave 4, as soon as you think that wave 5 is topping, you would have to exit the trade. And if we look at my other two indicators, which I took off, but I want to put them back on again. Here, this baseline indicator, which is an EMA indicator, EMA cross, and that baseline are both bullish. So this baseline is bullish from here. It was bullish actually very close to the low. It went bullish. And right now we have a cross also here of that baseline indicator, which is also bullish. And Fisher is also bullish. So everything tells you that we actually should expect one more wave up, but it also should be short-lived. Now, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I forgot to show you something important. Well, I won't show you, but you find it in the description. The important thing is that you should have a second way of communicating with me. It is very useful to have a way of communicating with a trader. You never know when you might need it, and you don't know how, under certain condition, how profitable it can be to know what a trader is doing and to use it in your advantage. So it's always nice to be able to talk with a professional and have a way of communicating with him. So I'm recommending you to be a part of my free Telegram group, just so that you have a way of communicating with me and ask me questions and talk to me about anything related to trading whenever you want. And if you're interested in my services, in my analysis, then let me know and I'll provide you the instruction on how to become a member. And that's all I want to say today. I'll maybe try to do one more intervention today because I have no open position on in the markets right now, neither on Bitcoin, neither on gold, neither on any of the markets I trade. So since I have a little more time, I maybe try to do one more intervention and talk about the crypto today. And if not, I'll see you during the next week if I find time, or next weekend if I don't find the time during the week because I'm trading a lot. I'm trading very intensively this year, and I often have open 3 or 4 or 5 positions, and I have to check on those positions every 10 minutes or at least every 30 minutes. And I have to take the adequate trading decisions. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And it won't allow me to make a YouTube intervention when those are the conditions. But I'll try to make one more update this week. And if I either today or next week, if it's possible, or at least next weekend. So thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye-bye.